It's a presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are Arizona.
Good morning from Philadelphia, where summer is in full swing, and so are the D-backs. 10 runs on the board last night, and now a chance to take this series from the Phillies. It would be the D-backs' first series win versus the Phils in more than 3 years, and their first series win here since 2007. Arizona Diamondbacks baseball is presented by Sanderson Ford. Greetings from Citizens Bank Ballpark. Steve Berthune, Bob Brentley along the way. Welcome to the broadcast. This is the series finale for the Diamondbacks and the Phillies. For Philadelphia, Roberto Hernandez. For the D-backs, it's the left-hander Vidal Nuno. And, Bob, they will need Nuno to go deep into the ball game tonight because last night, the bullpen for the D-backs, outstanding.
It really was, and when you think about it, Josh Colmenter so many times as a reliever bailed out the starting staff for the Diamondbacks. Last night he needed some help from his bullpen, and boy did he get it in a big way. 7 1/3 innings of shutout baseball from those guys trotting in from the bullpen last night. Right on time, gave the offense enough time to break through against the Phillies and ended up winning that ball game in extra innings.
7 1/3 scoreless, allowing only 6 hits. The bullpen, which saw Addison Reed close out the ball game last night, did a tremendous job of picking up Josh Colmenter after Josh was gone in the third inning, one of the shortest outings of his career. And so he'll hopefully be able to put that behind him. And now we'll look back out to the mound this afternoon for Vidal Nuno, looking for his first win as a Diamondback.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough task today. Very hot and humid here in Philadelphia. The ball figures to be jumping here at the ballpark. He's going to have to keep it down, keep it on the corners. We know he's not overpowering. We know he's not going to blow anybody away. Really needs to finesse his way through this Phillies lineup today and hopefully get deep into the ball game.
So it's Vidal Nuno for the D-backs. Roberto Hernandez, the pitcher formerly known as Fausto Carmona, on the mound for the Phillies. And it is another hot, humid day here in Philadelphia. The wind is blowing out, and so we might see a home run or two here this afternoon. They were letting it fly last night. They have been throughout the series so far. First pitch coming up from Philly. It's the D-backs and the Phillies right here on Fox Sports Arizona.
Sports Arizona is brought to you in part by CenturyLink, your link to what's next. And by Jack in the Box. If the D-backs hit a home run today, score a free Jumbo Jack tomorrow with a purchase of a large drink.
Hot and humid here in Philadelphia. Summer is here, and so are the Diamondbacks, looking for their first series win at Citizens Bank Park since May of 2007 on this Hall of Fame Sunday. The Diamondbacks are wearing a patch on their jerseys today to honor the Baseball Hall's 75th anniversary. And proud to have a couple of Diamondbacks in today's class. Chief Baseball Officer Tony La Russa, and of course Joe Garagiola Sr., recipient of the Buck O'Neil Lifetime Achievement Award. The Fanatic, I'm amazed at the speeds that he gets up to on that thing. They have taken the governor off that thing, and he can fly around the ballpark here. Hair on fire.
Scary fast. There really should be traffic lights around the warning track the way he drives that thing.
Well, we'll check the traffic on the bases behind the Phillies starter. It's Roberto Hernandez. This is the pitcher formerly known as Fausto Carmona, once a 19-game winner with the Cleveland Indians.
Features a real good sinking fastball, a straight changeup, and a slider. When he's at his best, you usually see a lot of ground balls from Hernandez. When he's at his worst, he's getting that pitch up in the zone. It becomes very hittable and flattens out.
Not a big strikeout guy, usually 3 or 4 a game, makes his living getting ground ball out, so we'll keep an eye on that. And let's take a look now at the lineup that he will face for Kirk Gibson's Arizona Diamondbacks.
Ender Inciarte leading off, playing center field today. David Peralta out in left. Paul Goldschmidt at first base. Miguel Montero doing the catching. Martin Prado red hot over his last 9 games. He'll be at third base. Gerardo Parra out in right field. Didi Gregorius moves over to second base for Aaron Hill today. Nick Ahmed once again at shortstop, and left-hander Vidal Nuno on the mound for the Diamondbacks.
Defensively for the Phillies, it's a look at our mid-first bank starting defense.
Aaron Ruff in left, Ben Revere out in center, run on his arm. Marlon Byrd over in right field. It'll be Cody Ashley and Jimmy Rollins on the left side of the infield. Chase Utley and Ryan Howard on the right side. Former D-back Will Nieves behind the plate today for Roberto Hernandez, the right-hander.
And Ender Inciarte set to lead it off. Ender getting a start in center field, 253 on the year. As the D-backs go for the series win in Philly. There is strike one. The crew chief, Dale Scott, is our plate umpire this afternoon. Partly cloudy. We're told there is some weather headed this way, but not until very late this afternoon, so we should be okay. Inciarte laces that to Ben Revere, who makes a nice sliding catch in center field for the first outs.
That's unfortunate. Ender just hit that ball too well. Carried all the way out to Ben Revere. Got a little bit of a late start, but able to come in and make that sliding catch, taking a base hit away from Inciarte.
Ender has really swung a hot bat lately and should have had a base hit right there. Instead, it's the first out. And here is David Peralta, 90 degrees. You see some of the fans in the background there fanning themselves. It has been more summer-like as every day has approached throughout this series, and now we are into the 90s. Ball one to David Peralta. It's a little steamy out there. Not too bad, though. More so for some than others, apparently.
Embrace the heat.
There's the strike, 1-1. Apparently it's fan day here at the ballpark. It is Cole Hamels t-shirt day. They gave those out to the Phillies fans. Make sure you get the spelling of the name right. Peralta laces that over the head of Ryan Howard at first, and David Peralta is aboard with a 1-out single.
That sinker right off the end of the bat, just muscled it over the head of Ryan Howard into right field for the first base hit of the game for the D-backs.
David hitless in 2 at-bats last night. He was 1 for 5 Friday. And he's got a base hit to start things off. And now here's Goldie. 8th in the National League and hitting at .308. 3rd in RBIs and 3rd in OPS. There is some cloud cover here, so over the course of the afternoon the sun will come and go a bit. It's pretty bright out there right now.
Yeah, this is one of those days that's made for the flip-down sunglasses, because you're going to have moments where it's very bright and sunny, and then other times it'll be very cloudy.
Well, the Phillies defenders out there have their shades on. Goldie skies this one to Revere in center. Fighting that sun up there. Two down for Miguel Montero. Miggy walked and scored a run Friday night in the series opener. Had the day off last night. As Tuffy Gozuish got the start, the former Philly farmhand. Miggy 261, 11 homers. He's only 9 hits shy of his number from all of last season. And as of right now, he's roughly 100 fewer plate appearances than last year. In there against the former Fausto Carmona, now Roberto Hernandez. He'll turn 34 years old next month. Big right-hander, 6'4", 230. His 22nd appearance of the year, his 19th start. And this is a guy who has made a living with a big, heavy sink. Rolled near the mound. Hernandez well over there. Utley a little late getting to the bag, and Miggy beats it out. Hernandez came almost over to the first base line that time, so Howard kind of had to give way, and by the time he did, it was too late for Utley to get over there. And Montero's aboard. Here comes Ryan Sandberg. First base umpire Dan Isoni. Sorry, bud.
Yeah, that's one of those plays where the pitcher is usually better served. Just pick it up and take it yourself. Now, Ryan Howard right there kind of got in the way a little bit. Wow. Quite sure what Dan Iasonia saw that we did not, but Utley clearly beats Miguel Montero to the bag by about a half a step.
This one shouldn't take long. And so the Phillies will challenge the call. This seems like a no-brainer based on the reviews we've seen. And so Dan Isoni, the first base umpire, is over there. The headsets are on with crew chief Dale Scott, the plate umpire, and they'll take a look and talk to New York. And the fans in the ballpark here just saw the replay, and they like what they've seen. And that was fast. Phillies get the call overturned. It turns into a 9-pitch first for Roberto Hernandez, and we are playing ball in Philadelphia. D-backs, winners of 5 of their last 8 games, a chance to win the series here in Philadelphia. They have not won a series at Citizens Bank Park since May of 2007. And they'll look to the man known as El Nino, Vidal Nuno, who turned 27 years old yesterday, making his 4th start for the Diamondbacks.
Last time out against the Tigers, hooked up against Justin Verlander, went 4 2/3 in that game, gave up 7 hits and 3 runs. He also gave up a couple of bombs in that game. And we mentioned a hot and humid day here in Philadelphia. The ball figures to be jumping. He's going to have to keep it on the corners, keep it down.
And looking for his first win since he was acquired from the Yankees in the Brandon McCarthy deal on July 6th. His numbers from that start against the Tigers: 3 runs, 7 hits, 4 2/3. Kurt Gibson said Nuno's pitches were up and didn't really have much crispness on the corners, and that's important for him. He's got to locate to all 4 quadrants of the strike zone. Ben Revere, the leadoff man in center field, in there against Nuno, and Prado creeps in from third. Ben Revere, a base hit in the 9th inning last night after he came into the ball game in the 7th. He's just under 300 for the season. And he has been a productive bat in this Phillies lineup lately. Last 25 games, Ben Revere hitting .370. Well, he is a slap hitter and usually on the ground. Leads the major leagues, in fact, in ground ball percentage.
Yeah, normally you want Nuno to keep the ball down, but against a guy like Ben Revere, you'd rather see him throw it up there around the letters, try to get Revere to hit the ball in the air. Doesn't have the kind of power to drive it out of here, especially to the opposite field.
We saw Grady Sizemore in center field and in the leadoff spot for the first 2 games of this series. Another left-hand hitter. But Revere is a guy that actually does hit left-hand pitching. A .325 average against lefties. Decent sample size, nearly 90 plate appearances. So he's not a guy you need to hide out there against lefties. You can put him in there and he'll be fine. Sends this in the air the other way to left. Peralta near the line.
Great plan of attack for Ben Revere. Get him to hit it in the air to the opposite field. Ben Revere will be followed by Jimmy Rollins, playing shortstop today. Last night 2 for 6 with a couple of doubles. Chase Utley at second base. Big Ryan Howard over at first again today. Harlan Bird out in right field. Darren Ruff slides out to left field this afternoon. Cody Ashe at third base. Will Nieves doing the catching for right-hander Roberto Hernandez.
And here is the switch hitting Jimmy Rollins. As Bob mentioned, a couple of doubles last night. He went 0 for 5 on Friday. There's a strike, 0-1. 241 on the year, 13 homers. 11 of those home runs have come from the other side of the plate. The left-hand side is his power side. In fact, Rollins just missed a home run in his first at bat last night. He banged a ball off the top of the right field wall. Settled for one of his 2 doubles. Nuno's ahead 1-2. Jimmy Rollins having a relatively slow July. He's hitting only .213 this month, but he does have 5 homers in his last 14 games. Pops that one up. Didi Gregorius at second base today. Has it for the second out. Let's take a look at the Diamondbacks defensively. It's our mid-first bank starting defense.
We've got David Peralta in left field this afternoon. Ender Inciarte out in center. Gerardo Parra in right field. It'll be Prado and Ahmed on the left side of the infield. Gregorius and Goldschmidt on the right side. Miguel Montero back in the lineup this afternoon. He'll be catching left-hander Vidal Nuno.
Aaron Hill, X-rays negative after he was hit on the right hand by a pitch last night. And they are fingers crossed, hoping for the best after what Aaron went through last year when he was hit on the left hand by the Pirates' James McDonald. Here's Chase Utley, and he's been a problem. On base in 5 of his 6 plate appearances last night. .293 on the year. He had 3 hits, a walk, he was hit by a pitch. He was on base 3 times in Friday night's game.
I would imagine there have been a lot of visiting team announcers that have said exactly those same words about Chase Utley. This guy is just a thorn in everybody's side.
What a player. Now, what is it exactly you love about his swing?
It's not so much his swing. It's just the way he's so casual. It's like he's almost too relaxed in that batter's box. He takes that last little waggle. It's like he's never going to get the bat back into a hitting position, but When that ball is in the hitting zone, he's ready to put a charge on it.
Nuno with a 91-mile-an-hour fastball that misses, and Utley's ahead 3-1.
This kind of approach would make a lot of guys nervous as hitters. You know, they want to make sure you got your hands back there in a good position and you're balanced, and you know all that good stuff that hitters do. And Utley just looks like, yeah, well, as soon as you throw it, I'll be ready, but I'm not in any hurry to get into a hitting position.
And he's on base again to start off this series finale. He's been on base the whole series. That brings up Ryan Howard. The big man, pair of singles and a base on balls last night. 226 on the year, does have 15 homers. He has driven in 60. Back in the lineup for the second day in a row after sitting out 3 straight games when Ryan Sandberg called for a mental break for Ryan Howard, who has struggled. This in the air to left center field. Inciarte looking up. And that ball is gone. Ryan Howard feeling good. His 16th of 2-run homer, and it's 2-0 Philadelphia. Well, Ryan Sandberg was saying he hopes Ryan Howard, while he sat out 3 straight games, did a little regrouping and got some rests. He looks pretty good there.
Watch out, National League. If Ryan Howard starts driving that ball to the opposite field the way he does right here, he is going to heat up big time in the second half of the season. A big, strong guy like that, he does not have to pull the ball to hit it out of the park, as he just proved. He can miss-hit balls to the opposite field and get them out of the park.
And with everything that he has been through this week in terms of the media, the trade speculation, the benching, the rumors about, well, they might just cut him and eat the $70 million that they still owe him, all that had to feel good. Marlon Byrd down 0-1, pops this up behind the Phillies dugout. Nuno's ahead 0-2. That was the 19th home run given up this year by Vidal Nuno, both with the Yankees and the D-backs. Remember Nuno in that last start against the Tigers when he got knocked around, gave up a couple of home runs. Torrey Hunter with a 2-run shot. That opened up the second inning after a leadoff walk to Martinez, and then Austin Jackson a leadoff home run into third. So he's been bitten by the long ball a lot here lately. 2-2 to Byrd. Byrd homer last night, his 20th of the year. Sends this in the air to left, but there's room for Peralta. And he's got it in front of the track, but Ryan Howard's 16th homer has given the Phillies a 2-0 lead. 9.5 hours of D-backs programming. We'll start with the re-air of this game at 1:30, followed by D-backs live pregame show, then live at 4. Game 1 against the Reds from Great American Ballpark in Cincinnati. We'll fly there right after this ball game, and then tomorrow, stay tuned for the D-backs live postgame show. So don't miss all day with the D-backs. It's presented by MidFirst Bank tomorrow on Fox Sports Arizona. Martin Prado, big night last night. Tied a career high with 5 RBIs. He'll lead off the second against Roberto Hernandez, who's been staked to a 2-0 lead. Following the 2-run home run by Ryan Howard, his 16th of the year. Prado at .280 now, 5 homers, 3 hits last night, including that 5th home run of the year. He was on base 4 times. Was a triple shy of the cycle. He joked after the ball game, I'm not fast enough to get a triple in this ballpark, so I was not going to get the cycle. Prado was having a lot of fun, Bob, but before the game with the Fanatic, I remember they were kind of in a push-up contest to see who could do more push-ups.
I think Martin won.
Yeah, he did.
That's always fun. It can be a little annoying. You really have to approach it with the right frame of mind. You know, the Fanatic has a job to do too. He's out here to entertain the home fans, and sometimes that involves making fun of the visiting team. But I think everybody took it in the right manner, had a little fun with it.
He tried to going to pump you up. Tried the cross hand push-ups, and Martin really put on a show out there. The way Bob warms up for the broadcast every day. Prado back at it, finds a gap in left center, and without that speed, he'll stop at first for a long single. So Martin Prado on board again here. He's now hit in 6 straight games.
Well, once again, another well-struck line drive. I talked about it early in the game last night. Watching Martin over the last 3 or 4 days in batting practice, he just looks like a different hitter. Sitting back, letting the ball travel, trusting his hands are going to be quick enough to get to the ball, and with that trust has come more line drives and a home run last night.
Well, knowing Martin and all his rituals, the way he's hitting lately, he might do those push-ups before every ball game. And here's Henry Blanco coaching at first with Dave McKay in Cooperstown for Tony La Russa's induction ceremony. Ronald Paro 0-1. There is the patch honoring the 75th anniversary of the Baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown, New York. A must visit for any baseball fan.
Oh, no doubt about it.
And today is their big day. The class of 2014, including Joe Garagiola and Tony La Russa. Ryan Howard smothers that at first. They'll get 1, and that's it.
Nice play that time by the big man, not known for his agility down there at first base, but smothers that one, throws from a knee, submarine toss onto Jimmy Rollins to get the lead runner.
Hernandez was slow getting over to the bag, but they didn't really have a play on par anyway. So he's aboard now with 1 out for Didi Gregorius. Didi making his 6th start this season at second base. Aaron Hill is not in the lineup after he was hit on the hand last night. X-rays negative. And .238 on the year and 3 homers. Didi laced a double down the right field line here in the 10th last night. Part of that Diamondback 4-run 10th against Antonio Bastardo, who's had a tough series coming out of that Philly bullpen. 1-0 misses. It's 2 balls and no strikes to Didi.
Hey fans, anytime the D-backs score 6 runs or more, Taco Bell is giving away 3 free tacos with the purchase of a large drink between 4 and 6 the following day at participating locations.
We got a special celebrity guest that's going to join us in the booth here. Now this is, you usually get your, your B-list, your C-listers. This guy, A-list, top shelf, baseball superstar. I put it out there on the Twitter earlier today. He's going to join us in the next inning or so. So stay tuned for that. He's probably the only, in fact, baseball VIP who's not in Cooperstown right now. But hopefully one day will be, and we'll talk about that. So stay tuned. 3-1 to Didi. It's a busy booth up here. Gary Maddox, the great Philly center fielder, was giving a tour earlier. Jamie Moyer was in here. He's working on Phillies TV now.
Matt Stairs stuck his head in again today, like he does every day.
3-1. Class of 2014, including D-backs Chief Baseball Officer Tony La Russa, Bobby Cox, Tom Glavine, and Greg Maddux all going in the same group. Joe Torre, the big hurt, Frank Thomas.
It should be pointed out that Hall of Famer Greg Maddux was 3-11 lifetime against the Arizona Diamondbacks.
It's a funny game.
It really is.
Parra takes off on the 3-2 pitch. And Will Nieves, the former D-back, makes a nice play to throw him out. Parra up to second. That's 2 outs. And Joe Garagiola Sr. already in the Hall of Fame as a Ford C. Frick Award winner for his 58 years in broadcasting. That was 1991. And this weekend, Joe was the recipient of the Buck O'Neil Lifetime Achievement Award, and I can't think of a more deserving man for that award than Joe Garagiola Sr.
Joe probably did, I think there's no doubt he did a lot more for the game of baseball after his playing days were done than he did as a player. He was very self-appreciating about his career and where he stood among the all-time greats. He said, I wasn't even the best player in my neighborhood growing up. Of course, he grew up right across the street from Yogi Berra. But boy, I'll tell you, he has done so much for retired players and Negro League players, a baseball assistance team to help guys that kind of slipped through the cracks after their playing days were over. He has helped so many people.
All around baseball and all over the great state of Arizona as well. And it's our privilege to broadcast to you from Chase Field from the Joe Garagiola broadcast booth. 1-0 to Nick Ahmed, getting another start at shortstop today. He's started all 3 games in this series, and he's got 1 hit and 8 at bats so far. Roberto Hernandez is not a strike thrower. He can get pretty wild on you. He's behind 2-0. He ran up a 3-ball count to Gregorius. He's had some control issues this year. 54 walks in 106 innings, so he's averaging more than 4.5 walks for every 9 innings pitched. That's not getting it done. But he has held on with his fingernails to that 5th starter spot in this rotation. Spent a little bit of time with the bullpen earlier this year, but for the most part, he's been a starter. 2-1. In fact, Hernandez opened this season in the rotation. Handful of appearances in the bullpen about the beginning of May or so. But his last 11 appearances have all been starts. He's gone just 2-7 in those 11 starts. The ERA near 4.5. 2 outs. Parra the runner at second. 2-1 to Nick Ahmed. But you'll recall, D-backs fans, last year in Tampa Bay, this guy pitched a complete game against the Diamondbacks at Tropicana Field when he was with the Tampa Bay Rays. 2 runs on 5 hits. But he failed to win another game all year long and eventually lost his rotation spot on Joe Maddon's staff. And now here he is in Philadelphia. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Bounces that one. It's another 3-ball count from Hernandez. El Nino on deck. Birthday boy yesterday turned 27. Looked for a while like he might have to pitch on his birthday. He and Addison Reed were the only one down in that bullpen. Flashbacks to last year when we played 7 hours here. Ahmed, that is a fair ball down the right field line. Gerardo Parra will come in and score. Nick Ahmed is in there at second with an RBI double, his second big league double. And the Diamondbacks are on the board. It's 2-1.
Slashing double down that right field line. Hanging breaking ball that time from Hernandez. Good approach by Nick Ahmed. Stayed right on it. We'll get a good look at it past Ryan Howard down into that corner. Marlon Byrd made a pretty nice play on that. Gerardo Parra had to pick it up again after he rounded third base. I think he thought he was going to score easily, but with the possibility of a play at second base, Gerardo had to turn it back on to make sure he scored before a possible play at second.
And now the Diamondbacks get a run on the board and they clear the pitcher's spot. Nuno chops one to second, right to Utley. And that's the inning, but the Diamondbacks get one back. And we'll go to the home half of the second. It's 2-1 Phillies.
Well, kind of going over the scouting report, I thought that our team matched up really well with the bullpen, so I just wanted to get them in the game as quick as possible.
Very nice.
And to their credit, 8 1/3 shutout, I think I kind of nailed that one.
Had to be our Geico quote of the game today, Josh Collmenter, with a humorous approach to what was not a good night for him. 2 2/3, 11 hits, 6 runs, and really probably his worst outing of his career. And guys, you talked about the bullpen really picked him up last night. He was pleased to see that. It wasn't planned out. Obviously, Josh, he's always quick with the wit, and he certainly had it last night post-game in the clubhouse.
Well, that's a great thing about Josh Collmenter, Jody, is he's able to take an outing like that where he gave up, just a couple of home runs, bunch of doubles, all in less than 3 innings. Really got whacked, but he's able to shrug it off and move on.
Yeah, it's not often you give up 6 runs in 2 2/3 and walk away with a no decision. Usually you're going to have a big old L after your name with an outing like that.
Darren Ruff, the big right-hand hitter. We saw him at first base in the series opener. He's out there this afternoon getting the start in left field for Ryan Sandberg. He's got a double and an RBI in 5 plate appearances in this series. High in the air, right center field, Ender Inciarte fighting that sun. 1 away in the second. So Vidal Nuno, who gave up a home run to Howard, the only hit for the Phillies so far, has now given up 3 fly ball outs and a pop-up. So he's usually working with the ball up in the air.
That's a real fine line for all pitchers, but especially for Nuno. You want to get ahead in the count so you can expand the strike zone, maybe get those opposing hitters to chase some bad pitches. But it has to be a quality first strike. Diamondbacks pitching staff have given up 30 first pitch home runs this season, the most in the majors. The next closest, the Brewers, with 23 first pitch home runs.
Sometimes that get them over a fastball, you put it in a little too good a spot. Cody Ashe, the third baseman. 1-1. Nuno ahead now 1-2 on Ashe, who has 3 hits and 3 RBIs in this series. He homered in last night's ball game against Josh Comenter, his 7th of the year. In the air to center. Another fly ball out for El Nuno. 2 down. This can be a dangerous ballpark for fly ball pitchers, so you got to be careful, especially against some of these left-hand hitters.
And especially from the gaps to the foul lines. There's a little bailout room in center field. 401 to straightaway center, 409 just to the left of center field, 398 just to the right of center field. But from right center and left center around to the foul poles, you can get the ball to jump pretty good.
And there is a little bit of a wind here today, certainly much more so than the first 2 games in this series. Former D-back Will Nieves getting the start behind the plate, is 16th this year for the Phillies. Nieves just back for Philadelphia this week. He missed more than a month with a quadriceps injury. Signed a free agent contract in December after spending last year with the D-backs. And Nieves, it's funny, Bob, much like he did last year with Arizona, he always seems to find a way to get a hit. When he's in the starting lineup, he's got 16 hits in his 15 starts, including a home run.
Yeah, very aggressive offensive player. Wants to pull the ball if at all possible. Likes to get his at bat over with quickly. Usually only sees 2, 3, maybe 4 pitches in an at bat.
Nuno ahead 0-2. Nieves back from the DL. His first start back was against the Giants last Thursday. Had a pair of hits, including a double. 71 games for the D-backs last year. Did a good job backing up Miguel Montero. Hit .297. Bounce to third. Backs up Prado. And Vidal Nuno responds with a 1-2-3 second. Coming up, a special celebrity guest. It's the founder of a website that has revolutionized baseball. BaseballReference.com founder Sean Foreman joins us when we come back. Bob Brenly along the way, joined by Sean Foreman, who in so many ways has revolutionized baseball research. He is the founder of the amazing website baseballreference.com. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
You live in the area, right?
I do. Live in Philadelphia. Been here about 14 years now.
So we were able to sneak into the booth here for an inning or so. Tell us about when baseballreference.com got started and how.
It was really a kind of a scratch your own itch sort of thing. I love baseball stats. My dad was a football coach and always had an interest in baseball. And in 2000, kind of the start of the internet, just started up the site.
It is an amazing resource, and no kidding. I'm on there 3-4 hours a day, every day, and it's amazing how your site has changed the way that everyone in the industry researches things, analyzes things, just updates stats on a daily basis for dopes like us. It's incredible what a resource your site has become for the game.
Well, thank you. It's it's a lot of fun. We get all of our best ideas from the users, and people send us ideas, and we try to implement them as much as we can.
And it's really been great for those of us who played in an earlier era in baseball to go back and remember some things that maybe are a little cloudy at this point in our lives. It's just been a tremendous addition to the game of baseball.
Yeah, we have box scores back to 1914 now, and pretty much a complete play-by-play back to 54. So before I came over here, I was trying to look up who had stolen the most bases off you or who you had caught the most times.
We do that every day.
And so it was, it's fun to look up those things. And, a few of the ball players may stretch their stories a little bit. Unfortunately, they get called out on that a little bit more now than they used to.
How much feedback do you get from the users, and how does the site evolve over the course of time?
We get a lot of feedback. I mean, we answer every email that gets sent to us. We get probably 20, 30 emails a day from users. And, if we see a lot of people asking the same thing, we'll put it on the site and add it. So it's, we very quickly can add things to the site.
And it's amazing. You can go on there and find out. Bob Brenly once had a pop-up in the 5th inning of a game. I think it was at Crosley Field.
Yeah, well,
I know you never played there, but I kind of had a little fun with you there. And but you can find out exactly when it was, what happened, the date, everything. It's unbelievable.
Right. Yeah, we're really trying to, there are a number of volunteers who put that data together, like RetroSheet and people like, and Sabre and people like that. And we really try to put a friendly face on that and make it easy for people to use, because it's, not everybody wants to run a database, so we're trying to make it easy for them to find that stuff.
And for computer dummies like me, that's the thing I love about Baseball Reference. I know very little about the computer and how to find information, but it's so easy. If you know what you want to find, you can find it.
Well, I appreciate that. I mean, that's something we try for every day. When I was starting out, I'd always test it out on my mom to see if she could use it. And I figured if she could find it, it would work for about anybody.
A little focus group there with
yes,
Mom.
Yes.
The amazing thing is that it's used by everyone in the industry every day, 365. And for the most part, it's free. That, to me, is sensational.
Right. We, the 99% of the site is free, and we have some specialized things that cost a little bit. But it's, you can look up any player, any team, any league, and get a huge amount of information about them, all for free.
And even for fans, somebody went to their first baseball game back in 1964 at Yankee Stadium. I can't remember. Who was the starting pitcher that day? Well, you can find out.
Thanks to Sean Foreman at baseballreference.com. Sean, thanks very much for joining us. It was a great pleasure to have you. And with all sincerity from Bob and myself, thank you for everything you've done.
Well, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Diamondbacks baseball on Fox Sports Arizona is brought to you in part by Jack in the Box. If the D-backs hit a home run today, score a free Jumbo Jack tomorrow for the purchase of a large drink.
Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Diamondbacks trail the Phillies 2-1, set for the home half of the third. And Roberto Hernandez, the Phillies pitcher, will lead it off against Vidal Nuno, who has given up just one hit so far. That one hit, a two-run homer by Ryan Howard, his 16th of the year. But Nuno has settled in after that. He's retired the last four he's faced. And now it's Hernandez, Revere, Rollins, 9-1-2 in the Phillies' third. Thanks again to the great Sean Foreman, baseballreference.com. You can spend days on there without logging off. It is amazing.
And it really has been a lot of fun for guys like me and guys that even played in earlier eras of baseball, because, yeah, you know, your memories get a little cloudy. Every game wasn't on television, believe it or not, kids. And, yeah, it's fun to go back and look and remember some of the teammates and some of the opponents, some of the games you played, and kind of crystallize your memory just a little bit more. It's a lot of fun. You can waste days on Baseball Reference.
Gets you through the offseason, too. Hernandez fouls that one away. And I think it was especially nice to have Sean here on the day that they induct people into Cooperstown, because I think it's a fair argument to say that a guy that came up with something that revolutionized an industry and the way things are done, the analytics, the research, we all know how big that is right now. It all takes place, many of it, or much of it, on his website. And it's absolutely, for the most part, there's some special things you can do to pay for, but for the most part, you can be on there all day long for free. First strikeout for Nuno, 5 in a row sit down. Now here's Ben Revere. Revere flied out his first time up. There's been concern's too strong a word, but people saying, hey, this guy's going to be our center fielder, our leadoff man. I don't know about that. I mean, he doesn't have a great arm. We talked about that last night. That came into play late in the ball game. And for a leadoff man, this is a guy who never walks and hits a lot of ground balls just like that. Goldie beats him to the bag, 2 down.
You know, only 10 walks in 350 at bats on the season. I mean, you've got to get a lot of base hits to keep the on-base percentage to an acceptable level if you're only walking 10 times in 350 at bats. Ichiro was a guy that didn't walk a lot when he first came to the States, but he was getting 260 hits a year, so it didn't really make any difference. He was always on base.
Jimmy Rollins popped up his first time. Citizens Bank Park. It's funny, you get to the third game of a series and visiting crew that's been well, let's just put it, eating well at this ballpark. Get to game 3 and it's a man down.
Man, need a nap.
Some of these guys, include myself in that, dragging a little bit. Sampling all that this ballpark has to offer in terms of the food. It is unbelievable. 2-2. There you go.
Oh, man. Yeah, that's one way I did not go this trip. I can't pass Tony Luke's cheesesteaks. I mean, that might be the best pizza in the world. I wouldn't know. I can't walk by Tony Luke's without stopping and getting a sandwich.
There it is. Jody Jackson was out there cooking yesterday, making some cheesesteaks. You get your Tony Luke's, and then you just stand there with that little shelf they got and watch the ball game. Chow down. Rollins shoots that into right center. He's got a 2-out single that ends a stretch of 6 in a row, retired by El Nino. And hey, while you're eating your ballpark food, why not take a fan photo and then tweet it to us on the Twitter with the hashtag and the whole thing. AZ Fan Photo, your chance to have it shown in our game broadcast, brought to you by AT&T. Ken Phelps came up big, I thought. Last night did a nice job rebounding after a tough start to the series.
Yes, he did. Took a straight right to the chin on his first choice, but came back nicely. Counterpunched well last night.
Digger is on the clock, working radio on this road trip alongside the governor. Greg Schulte, 98.7 FM, Diamondback Radio. Tom Candiotti is insufferably vacationing somewhere and letting everyone know that he's enjoying himself. Utley walked and scored his first time up, came in on the Howard homer. Phillies led it 2-0. Diamondbacks got one back in the second on a Nick Ahmed RBI double. There's Nick. His family is here. Drove down from Western Massachusetts. Utley center field. Long run for Inciarte. And so Vidal Nuno strands the 2-out single. There is Jody Jackson with Tony Luke at Tony Luke's. That's big time. Oh boy, are those things good. Back home in Phoenix at a local Sanderson Ford. Bluebell Ice Cream and Sanderson Ford in celebration of National Ice Cream Month. Handed out ice cream. Our Fox Sports Arizona girls were there, Mallory and Sarah. Dishing out some Bluebell Ice Cream at Sanderson Ford. Pretty good deal. Moving some cars and some ice cream. Seriously, the food this weekend's out of control.
Well, it is Ice Cream Month, right?
Yeah, well, it's in the spirit of things. We've been cleaning them out here in the press box. Miguel Montero leads off the fourth against Roberto Hernandez. Iggy grounded out his first time. Miguel Montero leading all major league catchers, 58 RBIs. Ahead of Buster Posey and Jonathan Lucroy. No catcher in baseball has caught more innings behind the plate than Miguel Montero, a workhorse.
After that foul ball, let's take a look at our Valley Honda keys to the game. Spread the wealth again. A lot of guys up and down the lineup, with the exception of Paul Goldschmidt, got hits in the game. They spread their offense from the first inning to the 10th inning. And offensively, let's get to old what's his name here. Fausto Carmona, Roberto Hernandez.
You get the gist. He strikes out Montero. First strikeout for Hernandez. One down in the fourth.
Yeah, the first 6 years of his major league career, he was Fausto Carmona. And in 2012, found he had some issues with his visa and identity fraud, so he's now Roberto Hernandez. The funny thing is his son is Fausto Carmona Jr.
Oops.
Oops.
Can't change that. Martin Prado. Prado singled his first time up after his big night last night. Well, Hernandez, back when he was known as Fausto Carmona, was one of the best pitchers in the American League. That Cleveland team in 07 went to the ALCS, lost to the Red Sox. He won 19 games that year and had a 3.06 ERA. And at that point, he had one of the best sinker balls in the game. Signed as a free agent with the Phillies last December after spending last year in Tampa Bay. Went 6-13 there, an ERA just under 5. So he lost his rotation spot under Joe Madden at some point, was sent to the bullpen, and now here he is. But the Phillies looked at some of the analytics and liked what they saw, even though it's a guy that won 6 games. They thought, something there. So despite that, they decided he was worth $4.5 million to come in and be their 5th starter. Prado, short center. Revere is underneath. 6 straight now set down by Hernandez. 2 down for Parra. Parra reached on a fielder's choice and scored the D-backs' only run so far. Came in on Nick Ahmed's RBI double in the second.
Gerardo's added a little something to his pre-at-bat routine. You saw him kind of go down into a half crouch and then jump up into the air before walking into that left-handed batter's box.
Prado's rubbing off on all these guys.
Now, before the first pitch of the at-bat, we'll try to catch him next time. Matter of fact, we won't have to wait till next time. Cruz right on top of it today. Yeah, this is before he gets into that batter's box. Just loosen those legs up a little bit more. Or in case he gets a really high pitch he wants to swing at.
You got Chase Anderson doing pull-ups on the dugout roof. You got Parra hopping up and down.
Prado doing one-arm push-ups in the outfield with the other team's mascot.
We've reached that point in the season. 50 pitches now for Roberto Hernandez, 31 for strikes. And he's ahead on Gerardo Parra, 1-2. Over the mound, Rollins behind the bag. Second straight 1-2-3 inning for Roberto Hernandez. He leads it 2-1. Money changes everything. Parachute, pants, fanny packs, all these things from the 1980s. Bring them all back. Friday, August 8th, 80s night, D-backs and Rockies. You can watch Valley favorite Rock Lobster before the ball game, performing on the Gila River Casino's Plaza. And then after the game, Friday night fireworks set to classic 80s hits. And don't forget, fans, you got to get these D-back Zubaz pants, but you only get them when you purchase a special 80s night ticket package. So get the package, get the pants, the whole thing. dbacks.com/events, and we'll see you August 8th. Ryan Howard. Nuno covers, and Howard, who hit a 2-run homer his first time up, is quietly retired to lead off the Philly fourth. Well, what do you think about the pitch that Howard hit out against Nuno for that home run?
Well, I think given what we saw in the ball game last night, it was a pretty good pitch. Outer third of the plate and down. Last night, Ryan Howard was rolling over that pitch, hitting easy ground balls to the right side of the infield, but that time it seemed like he had it in the back of his mind. He was going to drive it to the opposite field, and when Ryan Howard starts driving the ball to the opposite field, bad things tend to happen for pitchers.
So far, Nuno, the home run, one of only 2 hits he's given up. The other was a Rollins single with 2 outs in the third. And now with 1 down in the fourth, Marlon Byrd, who flied out his first time. Marlon Byrd, an 8-game hitting streak, hitting over 340 during his streak, including a pair of home runs. 1 for 5 last night. The one was his 20th home run. And he's got 3 hits in the series. The numbers for the 8-game streak. One hop, Nick Ahmed from the outfield grass. A rare ground ball out for Vidal Nuno, 2 down. Brings up Darren Ruff, who flied out his first time.
You look at this Phillies lineup, and obviously there's a lot of household names, a lot of guys that have had great careers, but against Nuno, this is the guy that scares me today. He's a big, strong guy, can hit the ball to all parts of the ballpark. Got to be careful with him.
Darren Ruff, 6'3", 240. 2 hits in 10 at-bats since he returned from injury about a week ago. He missed the previous 46 games. He's had a tough year health-wise. Darren Ruff, this is his 2nd stint with the Phillies. Looked very good in spring training, but started the year on the DL with a strained oblique. Rehab for just over a week at AAA. Got called up to Philadelphia near the end of May. So he missed the first 42 games of the year. And then when he first came up, he barely played, only 10 at-bats, so they sent him back to AAA. And that same night, he broke his wrist and badly gashed his knee sliding into a wall, and had another long rehab. He's just been back about a week, and he works a 2-out walk against Nuno. 2nd walk issued by Vidal Nuno. Brings up Cody Ashe, flying out to center his first time. Nuno has given up 2 hits, one of them a homer. 2 walks and a strikeout. Here's Ashe. First pitch is popped up, very shallow left. Peralta's there. And it's a 9-pitch inning for Vidal Nuno. Through 4, D-backs trail at 2-1.
speaks for himself. Really his versatility, as how long he did it for. He was a fixture with 3 different clubs. He was successful. I mean, he started at 33, 34 years old, and he's just his accomplishments are almost unmatched.
Kirk Gibson on Tony La Russa going into the Hall of Fame today. He has yet to give his speech. I guess that's coming up in just a little bit. But there are the 3 managers going in: La Russa, Bobby Cox, and Joe Torre. You see how impressive their resumes are. And Kirk Gibson went on, guys, to say that he hopes that he gets the opportunity to continue to glean information from Tony La Russa, that it's been so valuable to him to just sit and pick his brain, talk about situations that come up in these games. And so his legacy as a manager living on through the Diamondbacks manager.
Thank you, Jody. Kirk Gibson working with Chief Baseball Officer Tony La Russa alongside bench coach Alan Trammell right there. Here's Didi Gregorius leading off the 5th against Roberto Hernandez, who has retired the last 7 he's faced. Didi is 0 for 1. A lot of the coaches have been very happy with how open and receptive Didi Gregorius has been to working on that hitting stroke that has gone through an evolution since we first saw Didi last year. The results beginning to show now. Looks much more consistent up there, it seems. On a hop to third, Cody Ashe.
The numbers might not reflect it at this point, but just from his approach this season as opposed to last year, he's giving himself a better chance. His bat's in the strike zone a lot longer. He can wait a lot longer on the baseball. I mean, everything had to be perfect for Didi to do damage last year with that long, loopy swing and that very upright stance, but he's giving himself a much better chance this year to spray the ball around to all fields, and when he does get something to his liking, he can drive it.
I don't think there's any question when you watch him every day that he's advanced from where he was over the course of the year. Nick Ahmed has driven in the only Diamondback run, an RBI double, with 2 outs in the 2nd. And so Nick is now hit safely, counting today. In 6 of the last 7 games he has started for the D-backs at shortstop. Bounce to short. There's Rollins. Tell you what, Roberto Hernandez has got it going. Bunch of ground ball outs. They're starting to pile up. And with 2 outs, he'll work to Vidal Nuno, who grounded out his first time.
Yeah, the last 7 outs, 5 easy ground balls, 1 fly ball to center, and a strikeout for Hernandez.
Nuno naturally gets that one in the air near the left field line. Aaron Ruff. He's able to make the catch against the railing. 3 straight 1, 2, 3 innings for Roberto Hernandez, who has now retired 10 in a row. Aaron Ruff along the railing. Diamondbacks trail it 2-1. Presented by Sanderson Ford from Citizens Bank Park in Philadelphia. Rubber game of this 3-game series, the D-backs and the Phillies. As we head to the home half of the 5th, D-backs trail at 2-1. On a summer day in Philadelphia, PA. Will Nieves, former D-back, will lead it off against Vidal Nuno, former Yankee.
I would say both teams in Pennsylvania really know how to showcase their city with their ballparks. We talk about PNC and Pittsburgh all the time and the great job they did opening up the outfield to the city skyline and the rivers and the bridges. And same thing here in Philadelphia. The downtown's a little farther away, but boy, what a sight from the press box.
Yeah, it is a tremendous view from up here. It looks far away. The ballpark, about 10-15 minute ride at most. Right from the historic section of downtown Philadelphia. So much to see here. I know the zombie bobblehead has had a big week, seeing all the sights. Nunez ahead 0-2. Bobblehead day coming up August 2nd at Chase Field. dbacks.com/tickets. Zombie night number 2 this year. This one, you get a bobblehead. Nieves yanks that one down the left field line, foul. This is a very underrated ballpark for me. We hear a lot about San Francisco, especially in our division. And Pittsburgh is right there too. But this ballpark, they did a wonderful job here. There's so much to walk around and see and do, and you're right on top of the action, and the food is tremendous. And, there's statues, and you want part of that too. And there's the Richie Ashburn statue out there, and Ashburn Alley right there. That's where all those folks are standing in front of Tony Luke's. There is the Richie Ashburn statue in center field. And all the numbers, there's a wall of fame. There's tons to see out there. There they are in the Phillies Wall of Fame. And then you've got the view that Bob mentioned. It really is if you're a ballpark person and you like to fly and look at the different ballparks, this is one you got to go to. There are the K's. Restaurant out there in left field, named for the late great Harry Callis.
I don't know if you've mentioned the food here at the ballpark is good too.
All right. Well, there you go.
Bull's barbecue.
See, that's a good example. Everywhere you turn,
yeah,
something to eat. You did not go. Greg Lazinski's barbecue out there in right field, and they will give you beverage as well.
All the athletic facilities in Philadelphia are right here on the same block. The football stadiums across the street, the basketball, hockey arena across the street. More parking lots than anywhere you'll ever see on the face of the earth.
Not a bad setup. Nieves is battling here. Yeah, Lincoln Financial Field, the link where the Eagles play is, well, you can almost throw a football from where we are and hit it. Hockey and basketball arena right there. It's like a big square. Wells Fargo Center. And then they're all near the airport too, which you know you like. Nuno strikes out Nieves, his second strikeout.
Nuno not a big-time strikeout pitcher. He's got one of the opposing pitcher, and this time an 83-mile-an-hour changeup gets Will Nieves out in front for a strike 3.
Roberto Hernandez struck out his first time. And rolls. Foul.
As long as the runner's not busting it down the line and you have time, let it go ahead and roll. It might hit a clump of dirt or a cleat mark and bounce back into fair territory. If you've got Ben Revere or Jimmy Rollins streaking down that line, you better touch it as soon as it gets into foul territory.
Well, Roberto Hernandez, as you may have guessed, not much of a hitter. Take a look at this.
Boy, boy, boy.
in his career. Drop that one in there, but misses. In his career at the plate, Hernandez 2 for 51 with 27 strikeouts. There it is. We set him up nicely for that.
Yeah, very nice.
Third strikeout for El Nuno, which is Spanish for the Nuno.
Swings a bat like he's swatting wasps up there. Just missed it.
2 down now. Ben Revere. Nuno at 70 pitches, 45 for strikes. And so far, he's given up only 2 hits. One of them, though, a 2-run homer by Ryan Howard in the first. Speaking of home runs, May 27th of this year, Phillies were playing a home game here, and Ben Revere hit a home run. Well, what's the big deal? Well, it was the first home run of his career. He hit it out to right field after a long rain delay. Phillies lost to the Rockies 6-2. It came off left-hander Boone Logan, his first career home run after 1,466 homerless at-bats over the parts of 5 major league seasons to open up his career. Nick Ahmed charges and throws him out. Good D-back defense right there as Nuno works a 1-2-3-5. CenturyLink, your link to what's next. Top of the order for the Diamondbacks in the 6th. Bank Ballpark, hiding behind the fanatic, the son of that servicewoman, and the surprise reunion here, and a tremendous ovation from the Phillies fans. Wow. Ender Inciarte leads off the 6th for the Diamondbacks and laces that one by Howard and down the right field line. Marlon Byrd is in there in the corner. Inciarte will stop at second base, and he's got his 7th double. Ender Inciarte now 10 hits in his last 24 at bats, including 4 doubles.
And once again, barreling up the ball. I mean, everything he's hit recently has been right on the button. You could see Ryan Howard was drawn in to protect against a possible bunt, and he couldn't react quickly enough to cross over and make the play down into the corner for Marlon Byrd. A leadoff double for Inciarte.
Roberto Hernandez had retired 10 straight D-backs, but Inciarte opens up the 6th with a double. And he's the tying run with nobody out for David Peralta, who's 1 for 2. And Ender Inciarte continues to find ways to impact the game. You consider this was a kid that had not hit a ton in the minor leagues, that showed great tools defensively with the speed and the throwing arm and all of that, but he's turning into an offensive play here at this level. 0-2 now on Peralta. And don't forget, Ender was on the Phillies opening day roster last year. Phillies got him from the D-backs in the Rule 5 draft. He was here for opening day, but only one game, and since he did not make an appearance, he had to be returned by rule to the D-backs. And boy, did that work out nicely for us. And Ender came into last night's ball game about halfway through. Had a double, had a single, had an RBI ground out. He scored twice. And now a leadoff double in the 6th. Will Nieves out to talk to Hernandez.
It looked like Will Nieves, in an attempt to block that breaking ball in the dirt, might have taken it off the throwing hand. Try to take another look at it here. He's looking down at that right hand. Watch the bare hand as he goes down to block this ball. Caught him right in the palm of the hand. Ideally, you get that throwing hand behind the catcher's mitt to kind of protect it, but that time it was left exposed, and as usual, the ball will find it.
2-2. Yeah, I'd never caught in the big leagues, but I would use the mitt.
It helps. And especially to screen that bare hand when you're going down there to block a ball in the dirt. You don't know whether it's going to take a low skid bounce or a high bounce. And the more body parts you can protect behind equipment, the better.
Right back at Hernandez, who scrambles. Inciarte waits for the throw to first and then sneaks into third. Ender was just waiting that one out, and as soon as Hernandez committed to first base, he took off from second.
You see Inciarte in the back right there. This ball's hit initially. Kind of starts toward third, then he goes back to second. He sees Hernandez having trouble with the ball, realizes that Hernandez is not going to have time to check on him. So go ahead and be aggressive. Take off for third base. If Hernandez had taken the time to look back to second base and see where Inciarte was, he probably doesn't get David Peralta at first. So good move that time by Inciarte.
Yeah, he's the tying run at third base. One out for Goldie, who's 0 for 2. Infield is in for the Phillies, right on the edge of the grass.
Hey, Van.
Comfortable. I'm sorry.
Sorry, partner. When the D-backs win, you win at Papa John's. A day after every Diamondbacks win, you get 50% off your regular menu price online order at Papa John's. Enter promo code DBACKS50 at papajohns.com.
One 1-0 to Goldie. Hitless last night. He was on base twice with a pair of walks. Now tied for the National League lead in walks with Andrew McCutcheon. But looking to tie the game up right here. 2-0. Goldie closing out a sensational month of July, hitting better than .360. Inciarte the tying run at third. 2-0 now. Drives that one in the air to right field. Marlon Byrd in front of the wall. Inciarte tags, and the game is tied. RBI number 67 for Paul Goldschmidt, and it's 2-2.
Didn't quite get all of it, but he certainly got enough of it to drive home Inciarte from third base. Sinker working its way inside. Goldie stays inside the ball. Lost it high in the air to the warning track. And of course, no play on Ender Inciarte. Diamondbacks tie it up at 2.
Miguel Montero 0 for 2. The numbers for Miggy right there, 11 homers, 58 RBIs. So he's matched or passed most of his totals from last year on the ground. Howard takes it himself, and that's to get him. But the D-backs tied up. Inciarte a double, Goldie a RBI fly ball, and it's 2-2 halfway through the sixth. By Cox Communications and Fry's Food Stores is headed to Chase Field twice next month, August 10th and 24th, and you can get on board. Just stop by this month's participating Cox Solutions store in Casa Grande and Fry's Food Store in Prescott Valley, and you can enter to win 2 seats on the bus to and from the games, the 10th and the 24th. All the info you need is at foxsportsarizona.com. So far, only 2 hits allowed by Vidal Nuno. 2-2 ball game now, home half of the 6th, but he'd have to deal with Rollins, Utley, and Howard, 2, 3, and 4. Howard a 2-run homer in the first. Rollins a 2-out single in the third, the only hit so far against Vidal Nuno. He has walked 2, he has struck out 3. Bob, your keys to the game, one of them anyway. Needed some innings out of El Nuno today, and he is delivering so far.
Yeah, so far so good. Keeping the ball out of the middle. He has given up a lot of fly ball outs again, which is always a dangerous way to go about it, but kept him in the ballpark for the most part, other than the Ryan Howard opposite field homer.
And he's now retired 5 in a row. Here's Chase Utley. Utley walked and came in on the Howard homer. Flying out his last at bat 0 for 1. This guy's got 8 multi-hit games in his last 16. 293 on the year. Chase Utley grinding out his 12th big league season despite those chronic bad knees. It's been difficult last few years for Utley, really since he turned 30. If you look back at the last 4 seasons, he has averaged less than 110 games a year. And he's hit over that time about 270, 14 homers this season. But all that after he had 3 30 home run seasons and 4 straight years of 100 RBIs. And he is back at all-star form this year. Went to the game for the 6th time in his career. Hammers the 0-2 right to Goldie. 2 down.
We had Sean Foreman from Baseball Reference in the booth earlier in the ball game, and here's an example of the kind of information you can find. We wanted to see exactly where Chase Utley stands among all second basemen. That one easy for Goldie. All-time highest OPS, on base plus slugging percentage, from a player that played at least half his games at second base. Chase Utley is 4th on the all-time list. Rogers Hornsby, Charlie Gallagher, and Jackie Robinson, the only 3 second basemen ahead of him on that list. I mean, he's better than guys like Joe Morgan, Roberto Alomar, his manager Ryan Sandberg. Chase Utley he's putting up some potential Hall of Fame numbers.
And if his knees can hold up, he can keep playing. He wants to. He's got lots of options in that contract that he just signed. And there is the Hall of Fame patch that's both teams are wearing today on induction day. Tony La Russa, in fact, speaking right now up in Cooperstown. The D-backs chief baseball officer inducted today, along with Joe Gargiulo, who's also part of the ceremony this weekend, the Buck O'Neil Lifetime Achievement Award. Joe's been a Hall of Famer since '91, a Fricka winner. And also going in today, or being honored this weekend, I thought was long overdue, not a member of the Baseball Writers Association of America, the great Roger Angell, longtime baseball writer for the New Yorker magazine. I believe that Roger Angell is the first non-union member ever to win the Frick Award. Great honor for him. Well, it's 3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs to Ryan Howard, who hit that 2-run homer in the first, made it 2-0 Phillies at the time. Since that home run, Nuno has retired 15 of 17, but he walks Howard with 2 outs in the 6th. 3rd walk issued by Nuno.
Well, our Fox tracks may show it at the very top of the strike zone, but that's absolutely not where you want to throw an off-speed slider to a dangerous hitter like Ryan Howard. It's probably best that was ball 4.
And now he'll work to Marlon Byrd. He has flied out and grounded out 0 for 2. Comes into today with an 8-game hitting streak. That's a classic Nuno delivery right there. This is a guy who will mix everything up, throw everything at you but the rosin bag.
You just can't allow yourself to be predictable. If you don't have at least 1 or 2 or 3 plus pitches, you really got to mix them up well. That's where your catcher can really come in handy behind that plate, remembering how you pitch these guys their first at bat of the game. How'd you go about getting them out the second at bat of the game? Make sure you don't fall into any patterns where the hitter can discern what pitch is coming.
Sorry, threw some slop up there for the first strike, then came fastball to jump ahead 0-2. And he just misses there. Locate to both sides of the plate. Work all 4 quadrants of that strike zone and keep guys off balance. 90 pitches now, 57 for strikes. And it's 2-2 on Byrd. Vidal Nuno, California native, a 48th round pick by the Indians in '09. They released him 2 years later. Pitched independent ball. That's where the Yankees found him, and now he's a Diamondback. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Just missed there, and it's full. Nuno is rolling along. He'd retired 6 in a row. But then the walk to Howard, and now he's gone full on Bird.
Sounded like that ball hit Bird on top of the foot. Maybe the back foot.
Dale Scott's going to give him a moment to walk it off. Big pitch of the ball game right here. You kind of want to get out of this and not extend this inning. Howard takes off, popped him up. Gregorius in shallow rights, calling for it. Still backing up, backpedaling, and it's off the glove. And Howard will come in. There's a play at the plate, and they got him at home. Ryan Howard runs into the last out at home plate, and he wants to know what happened there.
I think he's saying that Miguel Montero had the plate blocked, and he did not have a lane to slide to. Dale Scott holding up the teams on the field as Ryan Sandberg comes out to talk it over with the crew chief.
Didi just kept backing up and backing up and backing up. Howard was rounding third. Here's the throw from Inciarte. And again, this is a lot of gray area with this rule, and they're going to take a look. Now, this is the umpire's discretion. They can look at these plays at the plate anytime. And again, you cannot block the runner's path to the plate if you're the catcher unless you have the baseball. And this is an umpire judgment call. They will take a look. They can review these at their discretion. Unlimited review. And the Diamondbacks are all standing at third base. Almost like a flock of geese waiting to cross the street.
Yeah, the grounds crew doesn't have to wait to see what the result of this review is. So they're manicuring the field. The Diamondbacks all gathered around just in front of third base.
And they have asked the players to stay on the field in these situations, so in case they have to go back out there, it doesn't draw it out too long. But as soon as Howard was tagged out, he looked at Dale Scott and said, I didn't have a lane anywhere. But Montero did have the ball, it seemed, well before Howard got there.
Yeah, this is another one of those rules that may need some tweaking as we move forward. The catcher is supposed to give a lane to the runner coming down from third base unless the throw takes him into the path of the runner. That time Miggy was just firmly planted in front of home plate as the throw came right to him.
And again, this is not a challenge. This is an umpire review. This play, home run calls and collision calls at home plate, both subject to unlimited review. And it's somewhere in there, depends on your interpretation. And that's been the issue. Look at number 3 there. The catcher must have possession of the ball to block the pathway of the runner trying to score. And that's the key word, pathway. You're supposed to give him a lane.
And also that fourth point, if the umpire decides that in this case Miguel Montero without the baseball blocked the pathway of the runner, then the runner is safe.
Headsets are coming off here, it looks like. Big call in a 2-2 game in the 6th. Now they're going to keep looking.
Maybe you could argue that Miguel was giving him the inside part of the plate. I mean, Ryan Howard never did touch home plate at any point.
But Montero, by the time Howard gets there, Miggy is standing there with the baseball.
Yep.
I mean, he was too far away. Howard was too far away from the plate, it seems, to have been obstructed. And by the time he gets there, the ball's there waiting for him. This is one they will take their time on, and the ruling at home is safe. Here comes Gibby. And this is, even with replay, where you get some ejections. So that's a 2-base error regardless for Didi Gregorius when the ball clanked off his glove, backpedaling out there in right center field. And you have to remember also that the decision was not made here, it's made in New York. So that's not Dale Scott deciding yes or no. That's Major League Baseball Advanced Media Headquarters. So the inning will continue. And now the Phillies have a 3-2 lead.
And Miggy, this is all educational for everybody. He wants to learn what it is he can and cannot do, when he's allowed to take away home plate.
They got to change that rule. I mean, I get it. Miggy was in front of the plate, but Howard was halfway down the line. By the time he got into the right-hand batter's box, the ball had been there in plenty of time.
Well, hopefully these plays at home plate and this new ruling this year will kind of be the same as what do they call it, the exchange. Remember where they told the umpires earlier this year just to use common sense, whether a guy was taking the ball out of his glove when he dropped it, or did he drop it in
the transfer
rule. Yeah, they kind of tightened that up a little bit. Just use a little common sense, and I think that's called for in some of these plays at the plate as well.
Ryan Howard was a dead duck coming home. He was out by 4 or 5 feet, and thanks to this rule he was called safe, and now the Phillies have the lead. That's one they need to use as an example, in fact. I mean, he's out. That's a no-brainer.
Well, and Miggy was in a position to catch the ball. It wasn't like he went out of the way to block the plate. That's where the throw was. That's where he had to be to make the catch.
Roll to third. Prado throws out rough. But the new catcher's interference rule and expanded replay fights the Diamondbacks, and they trail at 3-2. Arizona is brought to you in part by Lone Butte Casino. You're in for more winning moments at Lone Butte Casino. And by Cox Communications. Bundle and save with Cox. Phillies get a run without a base hit in the bottom of the 6th, and they trail at 3-2. Ryan Howard was out at home, and through the new catcher's interference rule, he was ruled safe. Although, you tell me, Bob, is he denying Howard a path to the plate here?
I think that's the question. And as I said, from a different angle, it looked like there was a piece of the plate on the infield side that Howard could possibly slide to.
He's out by 3 steps.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a rule that needs to be fixed.
Martin Prado. The rule was put in place to eliminate completely the idea that the guy could just come in and knock the catcher senseless, barrel him over with equipment flying everywhere. They wanted to eliminate those dangerous home plate collisions. But this is just getting silly. Prado in the air to left center field. There's room for Ruff. One down. And it doesn't do any good to argue with Dale Scott behind the plate. It's not his call. That call is made in New York City. And so there's, for Kirk Gibson, there's no recourse. You can yell at Dale Scott all you want, but he didn't say safe. He's just relaying what he was told. Now here's another question for you. If Miggy, while he's waiting for that throw, were standing, say, even one step closer, maybe even half a step, toward the pitcher's mound, waiting for the throw, it's probably out.
It's so hard for a catcher, though. I mean, it's been ingrained in guys to hold your ground, don't give up that plate. I mean, if he moves into the infield a little bit, that certainly does give Ryan Howard a path to slide to, but now you've got to catch the ball and drag it all the way back to the back corner of home plate, possibly giving Howard enough of a lane that he could slide around the tag and get a hand on the plate.
So much of it seems to depend on where the catcher is standing before he has the baseball. And according to the rule, it can't be in front of the plate before he has the baseball. But Ryan Howard is 10, 15 feet away from the plate at that point. And by the time he gets anywhere near Montero, he's got the ball.
Yeah, and like you said, the purpose of the rule was to avoid guys just plowing the catcher over at home plate. Well, that didn't happen. Ryan Howard tried to get around the tag, and Miggy applied the tag, but didn't really try to knock Ryan Howard off the plate or anything like that. Common sense.
Next weekend, D-backs and Pirates. When you buy your tickets, get the most bang for your buck. Make it a D-backs value pack. That includes a bleacher ticket, a hot dog or a Subway sandwich, a regular Pepsi, and a coupon for a free cookie. Get all that for $21. For tickets, visit dbacks.com/value, and we'll see you at Chase Field. Stretch time at Citizens Bank Park in Philadelphia. Controversial call at home plate. An out call overturned by New York. And now it's giving the Phillies a 3-2 lead as we start the home half of the seventh. Vidal Nuno has given up only 2 hits, but he trails it 3-2. Look at that.
Yeah, 2 of the 3 walks came around to score, but given the circumstances and the tired, overworked bullpen after last night's ball game, but Al Nuno's giving Gibby exactly what he needed today.
And what really hurt was if you don't want to throw a good pitch to Howard behind the counter 3-2, that's fine. Then he comes back and gets the pop-up against Bird to get out of the inning, but deep backpedals into right center field, goes off the glove. Howard scores.
Yeah, it looked like perhaps Gerardo Parra could possibly have come in and called Didi off of that play. Anytime you see that infielder camp underneath the baseball and then start to backpedal, you know he's in trouble. And as an outfielder, you go after that ball all the way, but I think perhaps Parra gave up on that ball a little too quickly, thinking Didi was going to catch a routine pop-up and flanked off his glove and dropped.
Well, Diamondbacks have been coming back a lot lately. Didi talking that one over with C.B. Buckner out there. C.B. Buckner. And we're set for the bottom of the 7th. Cody Asche, the third baseman, leads it off. I think that's a great example of the spirit of the rule and the letter of the law.
I think you're right.
Kind of getting all crossed up. Cody Asche 0 for 2. He has flied out twice. El Nuno rings him up with his 100th pitch. That's 4 strikeouts.
Good morning, good afternoon, good night, Cody Asche. Wasn't quite ready for that at bat.
Well, fans, it's that time again. Ken Phelps filling in on the Diamondback radio call, 98.7 FM on the hot seat for our AT&T fan photo.
Well, there you go. You get a player in the photo, it's always good. Miguel Montero.
I got to say, Digger's really rebounded nicely.
He has. He's bounced up off the mat in a big way.
There he is, the great Ken Phelps on your right, along with the governor, Greg Schulte. Leo Gilmartin overseeing things on the radio side, Arizona Sports 98.7 FM. Tom Candiotti not pictured here.
I got to tell you, though, on the road, I do miss Snake Talk on my drive home.
It's sweeping the country.
Thinking about maybe taking the Snake Talk on the road?
Snake Talk on the road. I like that. Kind of like one of those studio shows where they take it out on the road. That's a lot of work for Leo, though. Especially known as Diamond Talk, but the kids on the street call it Snake Talk. Here comes Peralta. He won't get there. Drops in foul ground. The Diamond Talk on the radio side, 98.7 FM after every D-backs home game. Oh, and 2 on Will Nieves. Pitcher spot is due up next, and Dominic Brown is in the on-deck circle. For the Phillies, there it is. A beautiful day here in Philadelphia. What a great shot from our crew here. That's a postcard right there. Over the glove of Nuno and into center, a base hit. Will Nieves, as always, it seems, good for at least 1 hit.
Took advantage of the weakness in the defense. Both middle infielders were split wide apart up the middle of the field, anticipating that Nieves was either going to pull the ball to the left side or try to shoot it to the right side. Left the middle unoccupied, and that's right where Nieves bounced that one.
And so the left-hand hitting Dominic Brown comes off the bench to hit for Roberto Hernandez, whose day will end right here. Hernandez threw 75 pitches, so you can close the book on him. 7 innings of 4-hit ball, 2 runs both earned, no walks and 1 strikeout. And here's Dom Brown at .232 and 7 homers. He hit number 7 Friday night. Runner 1. So it's Giles who pitched last night for the Phillies. Well, everybody pitched last night. He worked 1 1/3 through only 13 pitches in 1 1/3 innings. Phillies got some guys back there that can light up some radar guns.
And Giles is one of them. Maybe that's why they're making the change right here. Third time through the Diamondbacks order. Everybody's seen him 3 times now. Rather than run the risk of going through the order the 4th time, give him a different look.
Hernandez only at 75 pitches. And he's done. 2-1 on Dominic Brown. Dale Scott, the plate umpire. Not going to give you the high strike today. Two and two. Phillies lead it 3-2 on a overturned call. The new catcher's interference rule at home plate. Phillies actually lost a game that way at Cincinnati. That's where the Diamondbacks will head after this ball game. 4-3 against the Reds. Have the games on Monday and Tuesday for you here on Fox Sports Arizona. Well, this time it's given them the lead. Will Nieves is the runner at first. 1 out, 3 balls, 2 strikes to Dominic Brown, 3 for 11 as a pinch hitter this year. Nuno at 110 pitches, that's already a career high. Nieves takes off with a pitch. It's fouled back. And you may wonder had been his career high. Sorry, Bob.
You may wonder why lefty on lefty here. Dominic Brown taking this pinch hitted bat. The only right-handed bat Ryan Sandberg has available is his starting catcher Carlos Ruiz. I'm sure he'd like to try to give him a full day off today. He also has the switch hitting Andres Blanco, who's kind of their jack of all trades infielder. So Dominic Brown, the left-handed hitter, gets the at bat against the left-handed pitcher.
Nieves running on the pitch again, pops it up, drifting near the Diamondback dugout and in the seats. This is a guy that, for a left-hand hitter who can be streaky, can handle himself against left. Not a huge difference, right or left, for Dom Brown.
A strikeout would be big right here. A potential strike him out, throw him out, double play to end the inning. Will Nieves, Phillies catcher, running over there at first base.
9th pitch of the at-bat on the way. India wants a new baseball. Nieves holds it first, and Brown strikes out. 5 strikeouts for Nuno, 2 down in the 7th.
Nuno took a lot of deliveries up there at the top of the strike zone against Dominic Brown. Did not get some calls earlier in the sequence, but ultimately punches him out with a high slider.
Tell you what, they needed Nuno after last night's bullpen marathon to go deep, and he has delivered big time. He's given up only 3 hits. He's got 5 strikeouts. He has walked 3 guys, 2 of which scored. And now with 2 outs and Nieves on first, he'll work to Ben Revere. Prado in at third. There's a strike 0-1. And not only has Nuno put up the numbers they were hoping for, the pitch count there, you see it right there, 114. That's a big part of this as well. He is going deep. Previous career high was 107. Now he's just trying to get out of the 7th. One and 2. In the air left center, Peralta Off the glove. Nieves is being waved home. Here's the relay from Ahmed, and it is not in time. Montero can't corral it, and the Phillies lead 4-2. Revere ends up on third. That has been the one chink in David Peralta's armor this year, the defense. And that one clanks off the glove. It would have ended the inning. Instead, it's 4-2 Philadelphia.
It was a nice effort, but a bad line to the ball. He ended up running almost directly at the left field wall, reaching high above his head. You see he starts towards center field and then has to change directions back to the warning track, making that a lot tougher play than it had to be. Hit off the heel of his glove and dropped to the warning track. It looked like the relay was easily going to get Nieves at home plate, but Miguel Montero can't handle the one-hop throw at the dish.
And Nuno, who worked valiantly to try to get out of that seventh and should have been out of the inning, will leave here with only 2 outs in a 4-2 ball game. Back after this. Call that was overturned at the plate maybe get in Miguel Montero's head on this one.
Yeah, I mean, he's giving a big lane for Will Nieves to slide to that time. I don't know whether it's in the back of Miggy's mind or not, but it's a tough short hop. Certainly a catchable ball. It kind of scooted on him. One thing to keep in mind, that throw came from Nick Ahmed, and Miggy probably hasn't caught a lot of relay throws from Nick Ahmed. Some guy, when they throw the ball, it'll take a true bounce. Sometimes it'll take a low bounce. Other times it'll have a slight side rotation on the baseball, causing it to take an awkward bounce. I'm not sure exactly what happened there, but it's too bad starting with the error in left field, and then this throw gets underneath the glove. Looked like it hit Miggy in the left leg before he could corral it.
Look where he's standing. Yep. He's standing behind he's giving him the entire plate. We're on the play that Howard was involved with. He was directly in front of the plate. Matt Stites trying to get out of this inning now. Revere's at third. 2 outs for Rollins. Rollins has one of the 3 Phillies hits. They have 4 runs on 3 hits. A single in the third. He's 1 for 3. Matt Stites coming in here trying to get out of this inning. Behind 3-0 on Rollins. Vidal Nuno, with the exception of one bad pitch, it wasn't even that bad a pitch actually to Ryan Howard, was outstanding today. Gave them just what they needed. But the defense has let them down a bit today. There's the strike, 3-1. Hard to first. Goldie's there. Well, the Phillies get another run and another unusual play, and they take a 4-2 lead. CenturyLink Earling to what's next. Coming up, Nick Abed leads off the 8th. Fans catch every strikeout, every game ender, and every history-making moment on MLB Whip Around. It's weeknights at 7 Pacific on Fox Sports 1 and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Independence Hall here in Philadelphia, one of the great historic sites in this city. Second Continental Congress right in there. A little piece of paper and we were on our way. I think we need some legislation to change some of these replay rules. And Giles, the right-hander, is on for the Phillies.
Well, believe it or not, government works better and faster than Major League Baseball, so you might have to wait a while.
That's saying something. His 17th appearance of the year. He's been outstanding so far. 25 strikeouts against only 3 walks in 17 1/3. Dominic Brown, who hit for the pitcher, stays in the game. He takes over in left field for Darren Ruff. Nick Ahmed leads off the 8th for the Diamondbacks. Pitcher spot is due up next, and pinch hitter extraordinaire Nick Evans is in the on-deck circle. Nick back with the Diamondbacks again. There's still no official word or exactly what's happening with Japan. That's still floating around out there. Rumored yesterday that he had reached agreement with a team in Japan, the Rakuten Golden Eagles.
Yeah, we're not quite sure where or how that rumor started or if there's any truth to it at all, but it's a lot easier to start rumors nowadays than it used to be. With social media.
Start one right now. Yeah. What do you want to do?
We actually did that one spring when we were playing at Old Scottsdale Stadium when I was with the Giants, and there was a little window to the clubhouse that went out to the concourse right outside, and the writers would all gather outside there waiting to come in and do their interviews and what have you after the ball games, and we used to go over and stand underneath that window and start our own rumors. Can you believe it? Can you believe they're going to trade Fred Brining to the Phillies? Man, what are we getting back? I don't know. I think it's a player to be named later. And sure enough, it would show up in the paper the next day. But that took a lot of effort. Had to go stand next to the window, make sure the writers were there with their pads and pens so they could hear us.
It's like setting up a sting operation.
Yeah. Nowadays, you just tweet it out there, and it takes on a life of its own.
Sure does.
I mean, we actually had Fred Brining packing his bag one day. We even fooled Fred. No.
That's mean.
Well, you know, ball players. It's all meant in good fun.
So you go up to him. Oh, what's this? I read something about you going to the trade to the Phillies.
Well, we even got Frank Robinson involved in that one. Frank called him in and, explained, hey, there's been a trade. I mean, Fred was packing his bag and guys were coming over saying goodbye, patting him on the back.
Come on.
Just as he was about to leave the clubhouse. Wait a minute. It's just a joke. Of course, then there's the inevitable payback.
What happened?
Well, I'd rather not go there.
Oh, all right. What happened there, Hank? Diamondbacks have out-hit the Phillies 4-3, but trail it 4-2. And Ahmed strikes out. Let's see if Jody Jackson can clarify this Nick Evans Japan situation. Jody.
Of course, after he hit the 3-run homer last night, he just said, you know, I'm a Diamondback right now, and he loves being part of this team. But before the game, he did admit that going to Japan something that he thought would be exciting and has been on his mind in the past, at least. And that's really all we know right now as Nick Evans tries to continue to produce for the D-backs. And Kirk Gibson, I asked him about Nick Evans' future before the game and if they've talked about it, and he said, we may have. So he was kind of cryptic about it, guys.
Hard to believe.
Yeah. Well, if you're Nick Evans, all you can do is show up and keep putting that uniform on until they tell you to stop doing it and take your at-bats where they fall. Nick's done a nice job off the bench as a pinch hitter.
But if he was trying to keep it a secret, the fact that his teammates met him at the top step of the dugout bowing, almost like sumo wrestlers, probably a dead giveaway. That happened last night after his big 3-run homer in the 10th. Three 3-0. One-out walk. This was Martin Prado and Gerardo Parra welcoming Nick Evans back. Japanese style, I guess. After his home run. Kind of an international flavor in the D-backs dugout.
Another good at bat for Nick Evans. In a 2-run ball game, you're just looking to get on base somehow. Set it up for the guys hitting behind you. I mean, obviously, he would like to get a base hit, maybe hit a ball out of the ballpark again, but down by 2, you need a base runner.
Ender Inciarte. Ender doubled and scored in the 6th. Right to the glove. And there's the 1-6-3. Nice play by Giles. We'll head to the home half of the 8th. Diamondbacks trailing 4-2. Citizens Bank Park. Del Nuno was outstanding for the Diamondbacks today, giving them exactly what they need. The problem was the Diamondback defense did not give Nuno what he needed. A ball that went off Didi Gregorius' glove in right center field. A ball that clanked off David Peralta's glove in left center, both leading to Phillies runs, and that's been the difference in the ball game so far. They have 4 runs on 3 hits. Third Diamondback pitcher of the ball game on for the home half of the 8th. It's Randall Delgado, his 31st appearance.
Delgado was the last man standing in the bullpen last night. Everybody pitched except for Randall, so he's locked, loaded, and ready to go today.
Well, he better be. He'll work to Chase Utley, Ryan Howard, and Marlon Byrd, 3, 4, and 5 here in the Phillies 8th. Citizens Bank Park in Philadelphia. Beautiful summer day here. Another good crowd. 31,000 plus on hand. Utley walked and scored in the first on the Ryan Howard homer that made it 2-0. He's 0 for 2. Diamondbacks right after the ball game here this afternoon on a plane, and they will fly to Cincinnati for 3 against the Reds. Have the first 2 games for you on Fox Sports Arizona. Wednesday is a day game, 9:35 start. Back home in the great state of Arizona. That's radio only. Jonathan Papelbon is warming for the Phillies. Great American Ballpark. Chase Anderson and Homer Bailey tomorrow. Trevor Cahill and Mike Leake on Tuesday. Wade Miley, Alfredo Simon Wednesday afternoon. Two balls and 2 strikes. Chase Utley, guy that loves playing in Philadelphia, loves Citizens Bank Park, likes the Phillies fans a lot, says there's no better place to play. This is what he knows, he says. He strikes out to open up the 8th. Take a look at our Chaz Roberts air conditioning cool play of the game. This military reunion, mother and son.
It doesn't get any cooler than that.
As you can see, the young man was surprised, and that's a moment he won't ever forget. Ryan Howard. Howard, a 2-run homer in the first off of Del Nuno. His 16th of the year. He walked and scored in the 6th. He's actually out at home plate on a play that wasn't even close, but the call was overturned on the new catcher's interference rule, or whatever you want to call it, which obviously still needs to be worked on. Because Howard was out and it was not close, but the call was changed. 1-1.
I can just imagine Joe Garagiola Sr. sitting at home watching the ball game on TV. Joe probably got run over more than a slow-moving armadillo in Texas. I would be interested to see what he thinks about the new rule at home plate.
So the new recipient of the Buck O'Neil Lifetime Achievement Award, part of the Hall of Fame ceremonies this weekend in Cooperstown, along with Chief Baseball Officer Tony La Russa. Best way to put that might be the punishment doesn't fit the crime.
I mean, can you imagine if this would have been Game 7 of the World Series? And it could happen.
Could happen. And might. Howard strikes out looking. No on this play where Miguel Montero is standing after Didi misses it. He's standing directly in front of home plate. But the problem was, you're not supposed to do that unless you have the ball. But by the time Howard gets anywhere near the plate, Miggy's got the ball. But on the other play, where they had a chance to get the runner at home, Will Nieves, you'll note Miggy on that play, 1 inning later was standing in front of home plate. So that clearly was in his head somewhere, because he gave Nieves the entire plate on the second play, but blocked the plate for Howard on the first one. And if you're going to make that big a deal out of where the guy stands while he's waiting for the throw to come to him, then we need to rethink this thing.
Once again, I think the intent of the rule was to eliminate some of those plays at the plate where the runner just puts his shoulder down and bowls over the catcher, whether there's a player at the plate or not. And there was no collision there. Ryan Howard tried to avoid Miggy. Miggy, after catching the throw, just applied the tag, kind of gave way. I don't know.
The runner is obligated, when the catcher does have the ball, to figure something out. You cannot just plow into him. You've either got to slide or go around him. And that's just what Ryan Howard did. He got there, the ball was waiting for him. The fact that Montero was blocking the plate while Howard was halfway up the line shouldn't matter. Although we've had a scoring change on one of the key plays in the ball game, that second play we were talking about at home plate in the 7th inning. They have taken the error away from David Peralta. The ball that went off his glove. It is now ruled an RBI triple for Ben Revere. So no error on Peralta. Erase the E7 in the 7th and give Revere a triple and an RBI. Delgado strikes out the side. And here comes Jonathan Papelbon, 9th inning, Diamondbacks down 4-2. Park in Philadelphia. Diamondbacks trail the Phillies 4-2. Fans follow every D-backs game with MLB.com at bat on your favorite mobile phone or tablet. You'll get live look-ins, instant replay, scores, stats, audio, a free MLB.TV game of the day, and more. You can download on the App Store or visit dbacks.com. A man around here used to be known as Cinco Ocho. Jonathan Papelbon on for the 44th time. He's still only blown 3 saves. He's got a 1.87 ERA. They're trying to run him out of town here, and he'd be happy to go if they could find somebody to take the money.
He wants to go somewhere they have a chance to win. And that certainly won't be here in Philadelphia this year.
By the way, we have a third scoring change to pass along.
Stay tuned. There may be more.
It's been that kind of a day here. Now, we told you when we went to break that the ball that Ben Revere hit that went off David Peralta's glove as Peralta leads off the night had been ruled an RBI triple. Now, you still take the error away, but now they say it's a double. And And Revere takes third on the throw, so I'm just passing this along to you. It's now an RBI double in that 7th inning for Ben Revere. And take away the error from Peralta. No triple, it's a double. The 0-1 is smacked to the left for a base hit. Leadoff man aboard. Diamondbacks will get the tying run to the plate in the 9th inning against Papelbon. And it's another multi-hit game for David Peralta. He seems to do nothing but. Paul Goldschmidt now, our APS Energy All-Star, has sacrificed fly in the 6th to tie the ball game at 2. Career RBI number 300. And he is the tying run at the plate, nobody out. On 1. The way that Papelbon kind of puts that ball when he comes set on his back hip, trying to hide it as much as he can. He's only given up 1 home run all year. If you're thinking about tying the ball game with 1 swing. There it is. One down.
Rarely see Goldie chase a pitch like that up and out of the strike zone away. Occasionally he'll chase that pitch down and away, the one that starts on the corner and then breaks off the plate, but that pitch up and away, normally he either hits it or takes it.
Miguel Montero 0 for 3. To Miggy. Papelbon earlier this month, just a few days ago in fact, got career save number 310, which tied him with Goose Gossage for 21st all time. Of course, a lot of Goose Gossage's saves, and he'll tell you this, were, 3 innings.
2-3 innings, yeah. Wasn't unusual at all for him to come in after the starter in the 6th or 7th inning and finish the ball game.
If he gets the save here today, he'll tie Tom Henke for 20th all time with 311, the former Blue Jay closer. You ever catch him?
Yeah. 1989, when I was with the Blue Jays briefly, Tom Henke had nasty stuff. Threw hard, had a split finger that would just fall off the planet.
The Phillies have had some great closers in the day, and Papelbon is 6th on their all-time list with 91 saves as a Philly. He's 3 away from tying Tug McGraw. 1-2 to Montero. Miggy knocks it into left for a base hit. Tying runs aboard for the D-backs with 1 out.
I'll tell you what, knowing the fans here in Philadelphia, this is setting up nicely for one of the louder boos we've heard all year. Find a way to tie this ball game up against Papelbon. They will boo him off the field.
Maybe off the planet.
Nice approach by Miggy. Picks on a pitch, maybe up out of the strike zone, but didn't try to pull it. Just guided it out there into left field for the second base hit of the inning to the opposite field.
Well, guy with a hot hand is up there, Martin Prado. He singled in the 2nd. He's 1 for 3 today. Had the big night last night, tied a career high with 5 RBIs. Had 3 hits, including that 5th home run. Peralta is the runner at 2nd. Montero is the tying run at 1st. 1 out for Prado. Papelbon's been throwing strike 1. Bounced over the mound. Rollins gets 1 and 2, and that's the ball game. So Papelbon gets number 311, ties Tom Hankey for 20th on baseball's all-time list, and the Phillies take the series 4-2. This was one the Diamondbacks could have had.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Nuno did everything they expected him to do. The bullpen once again did a nice job. Got the guys they were supposed to get. Unfortunately, some sloppy defense today cost the D-backs the ball game.
The game's over.
Phillies get only 4 hits in the ball game. Diamondbacks out hit Philadelphia 6-4, but lose it 4-2. And now we will hop on a plane and head for Cincinnati. He started out fun times with a fanatic. But no smiles from the D-backs as we leave Philly. Hernandez the win, he's 5-8. Nuno the loss, he's 0-2. Papelbon is 25th save. For Jody Jackson, my partner Bob Brentley, I'm Steve Berthune. Thanks for watching Diamondbacks baseball here on Fox Sports Arizona. We will see you tomorrow from Great American Ballpark in Cincinnati. Right now, an encore presentation of In My Own Words, Joe Garagiola. The Buck O'Neill Lifetime Achievement Award today in Cooperstown.